Sophie, till late in the third quarter, you guys were struggling offensively in that frame. Second half in general, did it feel the same as the first half on that end? Did something change for you guys? What did you see as kind of leading to stalling on that end?
Yeah, I think we were just kind of slow. And every time that we're slow, especially defensively, it just somehow affects our offense. And so I think the thing that we just have to continue to do that kind of got us on the run we had before the last couple games was we were aggressive at the opposing attack on defense, and that led to easy transition buckets. That led to everyone being aggressive and on their front foot on the offensive end. And, we have new players, and that's okay. But, we just have to adjust, and we need them. We've faced a lot of adversity. But we should be used to that by now. I think they could just kind of outwork us a little bit, and that just can't be our excuse.
Losing never good, obviously, but tight standings, race 2 at home that were close. How much do these two hurt or see?
You know what? I don't really pay attention to all that. I think for me, every game is a big game for us. I think that you have to stack the days, and of course, you don't want to lose 2 in a row, especially here on your home court. But for us, we got to flush this one and move to tomorrow. How are we going to get better tomorrow, or how are we going to go get Connecticut?
For Odyssey, how do you quickly adjust when you have almost no time and the season is, moving along very fast and you're at a new team? How do you cope with that? How do you adjust to it?
Just giving myself grace, coming to a new team, learning quickly, studying, of course, on just play, learning to play. It's not just when I come to practice, just everything happens pretty fast. So the adjustment part comes. Along, obviously, when you learn more plays, you get more comfortable. New team, new teammates. So just gonna keep doing that and just get more comfortable.
Sophie, I know we talked about it a lot, but what does this roller coaster of a season kind of just felt like from the inside? It seemed like, especially being out in LA, you guys had some big moments and were starting to come together there.
Yeah. I think that's just part of being a pro athlete. You can never really control the outside things. You can't control injuries, and so that's why you really do have to control your mental and control what you can control. And I think that we have a really good group. We're still a tight-knit group. We're adding new players in that are amazing. O's been around the league for a long time, and I know you don't think so, but it's a blessing that you were on another team because we need you here. And so I just think it's an adjustment period. The highs and lows, you just have to stay kind of steady, right? Every team faces it. I feel like we faced it more than most this year, but I think this is going to set us up for something good. I don't know if it's this season, I don't know if it's next season, but I think there's always something that you can be grateful for and learn during those hard times.
So what was the message inside the locker room? What were you guys talking about there after the game?
Yeah, I just think that we've had some hard injuries this year. We've had some different lineups and roster spots. And, to be frank, I don't think anyone else around the league thinks that we can do it anymore. But I think that our group does. And I think that we just have to get that confidence back. When we're clicking offensively, defensively, we're scary. And not a lot of teams can beat us, even with the roster that we have right now. And so for us, it's just remembering who we are. It's our identity. We got to get back to being dogs, got to get back to being aggressive, being on our front foot, and not allowing teams like this to come in here and outwork us.
Were there moments, maybe when it feels like, or moments just throughout, the past couple games where it feels like kind of wear and tears taking a toll?
Not really. And I think that she kind of hit it. You have to give yourself a little bit of grace. When you have so many different lineups, you're like, and I have never played together. Hasn't played with a lot of people, maybe Tosh. But you have to know her style. She has to know our style. And so it's different, but that's part of being a pro. You got to adjust and you got to learn fast. And I think that's a really cool thing too, because when you click, you click. And so that's scary for people coming in here and trying to play us.
And then Odyssey for you, just pretty significant difference, I'm guessing, game 2 with 2 practices on your belt versus game 1 and 1 practice on your belt?
2 practices.
2 practices. It's just a lot more comfortable. It seemed like it looked a lot more comfortable out there.
Yeah, just like I said, just giving myself grace. Like I said, I played with Tosh, played with Kelsey, and I played with Lexi before. Everybody else I haven't played with, so just continuing to learn the plays. Like I say, you have to learn fast. We have a quick turnaround on Sunday, so this one definitely hurt. The last 2, of course, but we still got to look forward. We still got a lot left in this season, but it's about what we can control, and we can control how we play, how connected we are offensively and defensively, and it's just a matter of just getting back to that. And when we get back to that, like Sophie said, we're dangerous. and we're going to come in tomorrow, be ready to get better, push each other, and get this win against Connecticut on Sunday.
What do you make of the offensive stalling or whatever word you use for it that happened in the second half of this game? What led to that to you?
Yeah, I think we over dribbled at times. Our off ball movement wasn't there. We did a lot of standing. It's almost like we gave the ball to Kelsey and just tried to watch her work. And that's not when we're at our best. I mean, yes, certainly we want to have the ball in our hands, but we've got to continue to get movement with and without the basketball. It was getting stuck. I mean, we want to play 0.5 to 1 second basketball, and we weren't. And it's got to get moving. And it hurts. I mean, I think we had 8 turnovers for 13 points in the second half as well. So we didn't take care of it.
Sophie said every loss, of course, feels the same, but given the opportunity at home, these last 2 close games, schedule gets hard, tight standings race. How much more, if any, does these hurt, and how does that change when you have to kind of address your team after losses like these?
Yeah, it hurts. I mean, it does. She's right. Every loss hurts. And we know that after our injuries, our margin for error is smaller. And I think it was something like a 22-7 run, the end of the second, beginning of the third quarter. And those are hard to recover from when anytime really, but when you're missing pieces. And we've got to make sure that we're sharper at times. We don't have the margin to have lulls within quarters. And then I believe they had something like 21 points from free throw line and turnovers of their 26 in the fourth. And we control that, defending without fouling. We control that, taking care of the basketball, decision making at times, and some of it's playing some people out of position, and some of it's just not being valuing the basketball in the way that we need to value it, being a little sloppy with it.
Both Sophie and Odyssey were talking about giving themselves grace right now with everything going on. How tough is that balance between kind of giving the team grace right now with everything, but also the urgency of being in a playoff race?
Yeah, I mean it is, because it takes a lot out of you when you lose players, especially the way that happened. It takes a lot out of you emotionally, mentally, but it's sports, and it's part of the business. It's part of what we do, and I think there's a little bit of adrenaline rush in that game 1 back, and then now you're figuring it out again, right? And figuring it out. From a connectedness standpoint, putting new pieces together, a couple of players playing outside of position, everybody feeling like they got to do a little bit more, which we do at times, but not outside of ourselves. I think that the great thing about our position is that we control our destiny, but we've got to understand the sense of urgency that it takes, and understand that. And recognize that the margin is small, and we have a team that plays really hard. And often we talk about we've got to marry execution with our energy, because at times our execution's really sloppy.
With Chloe Bibby tonight, were there thoughts maybe plugging her in to try and spark the offense a little bit, or what was the decision behind not playing her tonight? Yeah,
there were some thoughts. I think that it matched up defensively more than anything with the way that we were going to try to play them, or in some of our switches and things like that. So that was mostly the reason.
And then just with the rotation, was it just those 8 or 7 that you ran with? Was it just they were flowing well and you wanted to just leave that going, or what was the thought there?
Yeah, I think some of it was defense. Being able to execute the type of defensive coverages that we wanted to have against this, the way that they play. Rebounding was some of that too, making sure that we had people that were in position when we were in some of our switches to rebound. I think the biggest thing for us on the defensive end was just too much fouling. And then, offensively, we went with that small lineup at the end to create a little bit more space, but you got to be able to give your chance by taking care of the ball, and in the second half, we didn't do a good enough job of that.
And then just with the possession you had down 3 when Kelsey took it and missed the layup, were you looking maybe to get some to Aliyah there, or what was that what you were looking for, getting Kelsey to going to the basket?
Yeah, they've been sending 2 to Kelsey, and we figured they'd be in switches during that time, and so we wanted to get something to the rim. You get a quick 2, get a foul, we were going to be in the penalty, or hit AB on the roll. We had, I think, good floor spacing to get it, and again, it's just making plays at those moments, and we can go back and look over those moments all we want, but to me that 22-7 run is the one that really kind of put us in the hole that we had to come back from. But I thought we got good looks at the end. We just did knock some of them down and missed some opportunities.
How much more comfortable did Odyssey look tonight? And how much more did she help you than she really looked like she was getting her feet wet the first game and looked like a different person tonight a little bit?
Yeah, she did. You know, I think the first game was a lot of nerves. You know, being out there for the first time. You know, she looked really good in practice yesterday, and it carried over today. I mean, she's much more aggressive to the rim, much more assertive, I would say, on both ends of the floor, including communication, and that's what we're going to continue to need from her.
You talked about that Mitchell shot when you were down 3 with whatever 20 seconds to go. Do you have a threshold of when you go for a 3 versus being okay with a quick 2? How does that calculus shake out in your head?
Yeah, I mean, I think the timing of you know where we were with being in the penalty. How much time was on the clock, use of timeouts, all those things. We just want to get a quick score. And if we get to the rim, that's great. If they overhelp and we get a 3, that's awesome. But give ourselves a chance early in the clock. And, you know, those are situations, especially when you're in the penalty, where you want to put some pressure on the rim. And, you know, I felt like throughout the course of the game, I felt like Kelsey did a good job. We may have missed AB on the dive, but she got a good look at the rim. And you know, we probably couldn't have asked for a better look.